Hey YouTube, welcome back. Today we are starting a new project for the channel. This is Project Gray Bush.
All right! Who wants a piece of the gray bush?
This is a 1989 Jeep Cherokee. Bought this around 2007, 2008, somewhere around there. 150 bucks. The guy I bought it from said it had an electrical issue. Well, come to find out, it had a hole in the side of the motor, about the size of a beer can. So we pulled it out. We eventually swapped another motor into this. That was a long time ago. It's been through a lot of changes. Really the only thing stock left on this is the body. The interior stock. That's really about it. So we're going to do a quick walk around. I'm going to show you everything we've done to this, and this episode here is going to be focused on just getting this thing running. I've not fired up the engine that's in this. It has been rebuilt. We'll cover that, but the whole purpose for this video is to get this thing up and running and eventually moving under its own power. All right, so as you guys can see, this is clearly not stock. This does have a 4.5-inch lift kit on it already. This is bone stock when I bought it. It's a Rubicon Express lift kit, at least that's what it started out as. We have done a little bit of body trimming on it. So the wheel wells have been trimmed. I have not trimmed the rockers, at least not yet. That may come in the future. It is sitting on 35-inch Trepador tires. Those have, I don't know, 75 miles on them probably. So rear bumper's been removed, rear tail light's been removed. This thing had been in a wreck previously, long before I bought it. It's just a minimalist bumper at this point. This whole corner here had been bashed in. You can still see a little bit of the Bondo cracking. We've got the LED taillights there. So this thing has definitely been put through its paces. You can see some cracks right here from the factory welds. I don't think those are really going to hurt anything. I clearly didn't know what I was doing when I did this, because when I cut the wheel openings, you can see this big crack right here, that space. So this was many years ago. What I'll probably do is roll this over, weld everything up, put some seam sealer on here, but this entire area has actually been rebuilt on the inside. There's the 4.5-inch lift springs down there, shocks, brand new gas tank. The old one was pretty nasty. Nice dent in the door there. This thing is really destined just for trail use, so I don't really care. We got the mirrors. New windshield. We actually smashed the factory one many years ago. Back in my younger days, this was going to be a race Jeep, and that didn't pan out. So I had no idea how much it was going to cost to get to that point. I just knew they didn't need windshields. So you can see the front suspension. Let me get a good look there. Is far from stock. So that's actually a 3-point link suspension that I built for this. Go around the front here. See the front end. That axle is from a Jeep Wagoneer, so we actually had to cut and turn the inner C's to make them work. The width is pretty much spot on for the Cherokee. I don't remember exactly what the measurements are. You see the steering. This has all Heim joints up front. There's no bushings, none of that. It's not gonna be a very smooth ride, but again, this is really only meant for off-road. It will be street legal, so we can drive around, but this is definitely not gonna be a daily driver. So there's the Rubicon Express 4.5-inch springs up front. Locking hubs from the Wagoneer axle. The rear axle is out of a Ford Explorer, so that's the 8.8 back here. So those are a nice swap for the Cherokees. This one was a little narrow, so you can see the spacers on the rear end there. We installed to bring that wheel width out just a bit. So let's take a look at the interior. This has been storage. I haven't touched this thing in probably 2 years. So see the white pipe. I made this just from an exhaust kit I think I got from Summit. This will get remade when I take this to get an exhaust installed on it. I'm not gonna do the exhaust myself. I've done everything else. Dash pieces, seats, and this thing basically is just really only served as storage for the last 2 years. You can see the inside here. Bunch of aftermarket wiring in here. Put a whole new body wiring kit in this, as well as the engine wiring harness. So we need to put the dash back together. And it's just kind of a mess right now. So let's take a look under the hood. This hood prop up. Get in there. There we go. All right, on to the main attraction. So this is an LQ4 motor, otherwise known as a Vortec. This is a 6-liter out of a 2005 H2. So this thing has been shoehorned in here. I think I've got coolant in this. Pretty sure. That's how long it's been. I don't even remember if we put coolant in it. No. Is it gonna come off of there? No. Hold on, let me set the camera down for a second. There we go. There's a little bit of coolant in there. Probably need to top it off. Put that back on. So, got this on eBay. It was a running motor. We got the transmission. It's got the 4L65 behind it. To put this in here, use a lot of parts from Novak. So we use the Novak headers. Down here, the radiator is from Novak. They don't actually make it. I don't remember who makes it. So aftermarket radiator. We actually had to move this forward. It's about an inch. So we had to do a lot of cutting up here in the front clip to get that moved forward. Just so we had enough clearance in here for everything. You can see it's a really tight fit. This isn't actually hitting anything, but it is a tight fit. We've got the fan. It's got 3 fans on it. We've got the transmission cooler mounted over here. Everything is plumbed. Everything is mechanically put together with the exception of the Y pipe. I do need to relocate one of the O2 sensors, I believe, just for it to fit. You see a new fuel line, which has been ran. The main thing I need to do at this point is hook up the electrical and see if we can get this thing fired up. I'm not worried about hooking the dash up. None of the factory gauges are going to work with this. So I've got an OBD2 reader. I can just watch the parameters on my phone. I've never broken in any sort of LS family motor. Which this is the Vortec, which is the iron block. But from what I understand, on the first fire, we're going to run it till it comes up to operating temperature. We'll shut it off. We will drain the oil. We'll put new oil in it. We'll run it for 500 miles, and at that point, it's basically good to go. So the goal, hopefully this weekend, is to get this thing fired up, do the initial run on it, make sure everything's good to go. We'll get the oil changed. Between the first firing and the 500 miles, I've got to get an exhaust system put on this because I'm gonna have to go get it inspected and registered. This thing hasn't been registered in about 2 years, well, about 3 years now. So I do want to get this thing legal so I can put the 500 miles on it. We can go drive around town, run errands, grab parts, whatever the case is, and then we'll be good to go after that. This intake sits too high for the hood to close, so I'm not sure what I want to do with the hood. I may just cut a hole in it for now. Again, this is just to take the off-road parks, go have fun. I'm not overly concerned with the paint job, with the aesthetics, things like that, but we'll see. I could go with a lower intake from an LS motor. Problem is, I've already got a cam in here from Texas Speed and Performance. It's built for this motor. So I don't want to jeopardize the power from this thing by running a smaller intake with shorter runners. So who knows? We'll see. I do need a new power steering pump. I just got one for a 2005 H2, which has the hydro boost on it. So it's got a couple extra fittings here. I can actually relocate the reservoir on this thing, make it a little lower profile. The alternator actually went where the power steering is, but when we put everything in here, it wouldn't fit, so I had to relocate some stuff. So yeah, should be a fun project. So like I said, my only goal this weekend is to try to fire this thing up. So new fuel lines, a new fuel pump in the tank. This runs at a higher pressure than the stock 4-liter did. so I had to buy a new fuel pump for that. The front axle is actually, it's empty, so the pinion's in there, the carrier is not, no axle shafts, any of that. We just put this thing together with the previous motor just so we can get it up and running, go get it inspected. So we got to put that together. What else do we need to do? Clean out the interior just a little bit. Let's walk around here. There's a drive shaft that needs to go back in. It's the axle shafts for the Wagoneer. Factory dash, factory center console. It's a mess. A lot of work, but hopefully we can get this thing up and running for wheeling season. Take it out for some fun. All right, guys. So that is Project Graybush. Really excited to get started on this thing. It's been a long time coming. In 15 years, I think I've put 75 miles on this thing. So it's ready to get this thing up and running, take it off road, see what she'll do. A lot of other upgrades planned for this thing in the future, but for now, just want to get this thing moving under its own power, and we'll go from there. So stay tuned for the next episode. It's going to be a Will It Run episode. We'll see if we actually get this thing fired up this weekend. I really need to, because unfortunately we live in an HOA. HOA is not happy about having a non-running vehicle parked in the driveway. So once we get up running and get new tags on it, we'll be good to go. So stay tuned.